We've all seen those sunlit images of the expansive Montecito estate, towering palm trees, terracotta rooftops, and the shimmering Pacific backdrop that looks like a carefully staged vision of peace and luxury. Yet according to claims circulating online and from some former employees, life behind those gates may be far more complex than the polished public image suggests. Inside the property, former staff members allegedly describe a very different atmosphere from the serene lifestyle often associated with high-profile coastal living. They refer to an environment where the pace was intense, expectations were high, and small details could reportedly take on outsized importance. In these accounts, the household is portrayed as tightly run, with strict routines and carefully managed boundaries shaping daily operations. Some former employees claim that from the moment new staff were hired, they were introduced to detailed household protocols. These reportedly included rules about privacy, restricted access to certain areas, and formal procedures for entering or working within different parts of the home. Even casual interactions were said to be guided by expectations that required constant awareness of etiquette and timing. While supporters argue that such structures are common in high-security celebrity households, critics and ex-staff narratives suggest the level of control described went beyond standard practice, contributing to tension and frequent staff turnover. These conflicting accounts have fueled ongoing debate about the difference between public perception and private reality. Further claims describe an elaborate internal system used to manage movement and communication within the household. According to some former staff accounts, access to certain areas of the residence was reportedly regulated through structured signaling systems designed to indicate when interaction was appropriate. These accounts suggest that different sections of the property operated under varying levels of restriction, depending on privacy needs or scheduling conditions. Staff reportedly had to stay alert to changing instructions that determined when they could enter spaces, speak with principals, or carry out specific duties. Daily operations were also said to require careful coordination. Routine tasks such as meal preparation, transportation, and household management allegedly depended on precise timing to avoid overlap with private moments or scheduled engagements. Some former employees describe a system where even minor disruptions could lead to rapid changes in instructions or workflow. Supporters argue that this level of structure is typical in high-profile homes where security and privacy are priorities. However, critics interpret these descriptions as signs of excessive micromanagement that contributed to a demanding work environment. Additional claims from former staff focus on the daily rhythm of the household, describing a constant shift between relaxed family moments and highly organized professional activity. According to these accounts, the household could change tone quickly, depending on the schedule of meetings, creative work, or media-related projects. Some former employees describe mornings that began early and were focused on planning, communication, and project development, followed by afternoons that alternated between informal family time and structured professional tasks. This shifting pace allegedly created unpredictability for staff trying to manage both domestic and professional responsibilities simultaneously. Reports also suggest that scheduling conflicts were not uncommon, with transportation, security, and household services often needing to be adjusted at short notice. Staff accounts describe situations where last-minute changes required rapid coordination across different teams working within the property. While supporters view this as the natural complexity of managing a high-profile lifestyle with multiple commitments, critics argue that the lack of consistency contributed to operational strain and staff frustration over time. Some accounts also describe financial and operational pressures behind the scenes of the household and associated business ventures. Former employees and unnamed insiders claim that there were frequent discussions around budgeting, logistics, and cost management, even as high-end lifestyle elements remained visible publicly. These narratives suggest a contrast between the polished image presented to the outside world and the internal effort required to maintain it. Expenses related to staffing, security, travel, and production reportedly created ongoing organizational pressure, requiring constant adjustment and oversight. At the same time, critics point to high-profile partnerships and media deals as evidence of significant financial backing, arguing that the household operated within a highly resourced environment. Supporters emphasize that managing multiple ventures simultaneously naturally involves complex financial planning and shifting priorities. This tension between perception and internal operation has become a recurring theme in discussions about the couple's post-royal life and public brand strategy. Over time, former employee accounts and online commentary have converged into a broader narrative about workplace culture and reputation. Some ex-staff members claim that high turnover rates reflected underlying stress within the household environment, while others argue that such claims are exaggerated or shaped by personal disagreements after leaving employment. There are also reports of informal networks forming among former employees, where individuals compare experiences and timelines. Supporters of the household caution that such spaces can amplify selective or incomplete recollections, while critics argue they help identify patterns that would otherwise remain hidden. This ongoing exchange of perspectives has contributed to growing public debate about how celebrity households are managed behind closed doors, especially when privacy agreements and media scrutiny intersect. At the same time, industry observers note that reputation management in the modern digital landscape is increasingly difficult, as individual testimonies and online discussions can spread quickly and shape public perception regardless of official statements. In the broader media landscape, the conversation has extended beyond private household claims into discussions about branding, public perception, and long-term credibility. Some analysts argue that ongoing criticism reflects the challenges of maintaining a controlled public image in an era where information circulates instantly and uncontrollably across social platforms. Supporters believe the couple continues to navigate intense scrutiny while attempting to build independent media and lifestyle ventures. Critics, however, suggest that repeated controversies and staff-related allegations have made it harder to sustain a consistent public narrative. Ultimately, these competing interpretations highlight a larger issue: the difficulty of separating verified fact from unverified claims in high-profile cases where public interest is intense and information is often fragmented. As a result, the story remains unresolved, shaped by contrasting viewpoints, limited confirmed evidence, and ongoing debate over what is perception, what is experience, and what is documented reality. As the broader discussion continues, attention increasingly shifts toward how modern celebrity brands are built and maintained in real time. Some commentators argue that the Sussex public image operates like a carefully managed media system, where messaging, timing, and presentation are tightly coordinated to control perception across different platforms. According to this view, every public appearance, interview, and project release becomes part of a larger narrative strategy designed to reinforce a consistent identity. Supporters describe this as normal in high-level media and entertainment industries, where branding is essential to long-term success. Critics, however, interpret the same structure as overly controlled, suggesting that too much management can sometimes create distance between public perception and lived reality. In today's digital environment, even small inconsistencies or changes in messaging can quickly become amplified, analyzed, and debated by audiences worldwide. This constant scrutiny adds pressure to maintain clarity and consistency across all public-facing communication. Alongside media strategy discussions, there is also growing focus on how public figures respond to criticism and controversy in the modern online ecosystem. Social media platforms, independent commentators, and long-form content creators now play a major role in shaping public understanding of high-profile individuals. Some analysts argue that once a narrative gains momentum online, it becomes difficult to fully control, regardless of official statements or legal responses. Supporters of high-profile couples like the Sussexes often emphasize that misinformation and speculation can spread quickly in such environments, making it challenging to address every claim directly. On the other hand, critics argue that silence or limited responses can sometimes allow speculation to grow further, filling gaps in information with interpretation rather than verified fact. This dynamic creates a feedback loop where public curiosity and media analysis continuously reinforce each other. As a result, reputation management today is less about controlling a single narrative and more about navigating multiple competing narratives at once. Ultimately, the ongoing debate surrounding Meghan Markle, Prince Harry, and their post-royal life reflects a larger cultural shift in how public figures are viewed and evaluated. In earlier eras, controlled media coverage and official statements were often enough to shape a stable public image. Today, however, digital archives, social platforms, and independent analysis make it nearly impossible for any single narrative to remain unchallenged. Supporters view the Sussexes as individuals attempting to build a new life and identity under extraordinary global scrutiny, while critics see inconsistencies that raise questions about credibility, transparency, and long-term narrative control. Both perspectives continue to circulate widely, with no clear consensus emerging. What remains consistent is the intensity of public interest and the ongoing effort by all sides, supporters, critics, and observers, to interpret fragmented information into a coherent story. In the end, the discussion is less about a single household or biography, and more about how modern fame itself operates, and in an age where every detail is permanently recorded, instantly shared, and endlessly reinterpreted.